See That Shit MMA podcast, hosted by mixed martial arts journalist Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, and Chicago's #1 underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
Thank you for listening. I am Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, with Chicago's #1 underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal. We appreciate it, guys. If you like the interview, and I know you will, be sure to go ahead and listen to the full episode. You can find it on our website, didyousseethatshit.com, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, pretty much wherever you find your favorite podcast. Be sure to listen to the whole episode. We appreciate it very much, guys. All right, so I want to welcome Josh the Punk Thomson. He's not just a fighter, he's an analyst, a podcaster. He's a pretty smart guy, too. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Got a lot of stressful stuff going on. Expanding my gym, KNOXX Gym, so we're expanding that, adding a bigger kids program. I'm actually adding Daniel Cormier's wrestling program into the gym as well, so we've got that going on. Obviously, the podcast is blowing up a little bit, and, we're getting to the next level, which is always nice. So, Sammy and the Punk, that's my podcast as well, and we're doing that. And then the analyst work as far as for Bellator, and there's just a bunch of little things going on, and, just trying to find my way. You never know what's going to happen after fighting, so you got to make sure that you got your hands in a couple different pots, and hopefully one of them pans out, to become successful.
A lot of the things you're doing are really good. Your podcast, I really dig your podcast. I love your breakdowns of the fights, man. I love a lot of the things you're doing. I wanted to ask you, are you done fighting, man, or are we going to see the Punk anymore, or are you just going to kind of take the next step now in your career?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I haven't made that decision yet. Realistically, I'm so focused right now on my gym with the expansion, not just the expansion of the gym, but I'm also building a new studio in there. So I'm going to have a full-on podcast studio inside my gym that's all soundproof. Everything's going to be set up on the inside. So right now I travel to a radio station that I actually kind of worked for. And we filmed there at the radio station, and I want something in town, in San Jose, so I'm actually building a studio in my gym called KNOXX Gym. So we'll have our Standing the Punk there. I'm actually starting another podcast of my own that won't be fight-related at all, and that'll be more of a focus on, successful people and people that I know that I'd like to help them build their brand and just kind of help other people that have done podcasts also. I want to help build their brand as well. So I'm going to have my hand and my niche and do a lot of little different things.
What you're doing with the podcast, I really dig it. So I definitely think you have a future with both of the podcasts. It sounds like my co-host Apollo, he couldn't be here. He's a huge fan. He's always felt like you were such an athlete. He wants to know if you feel that you still got it.
Well, the deal with me is that with fighting, my deal with me with fighting is that, if you feel like you don't have the ability to be the champion, then there's really no reason other than to fight for money, and I agree with that. Like, guys, they need to make money, but, I made a decision when I fought Benson Henderson. I was opening my gym at that time. I focused on my gym at that time, and I still had a good performance against Ben, but I didn't come out on top. I lost my chance to fight for the UFC title. Just a lot of little things happened during that time that made me decide that, whether it was contract negotiations with the UFC, dealing with, contract negotiations with Bellator, just realizing that the end of fighting was coming soon, and you need to start making arrangements for it. So what the focus needed to shift onto is making sure that I was taking speech classes, therapy classes, as far as, delivering my messages to people, as far as letting people understand where I was going with the conversation. So I've done all that type of preparation to help me get better as far as being an analyst, as well as the fact that I'm in front of a mic all the time now with the podcast. Those type of things being said, I need to make sure that I'm spending that type of time focusing on those things so that I have a step afterwards for fighting.
You can tell you look very good, very comfortable on the mic. Of course, when you're doing your podcast, you're great. When you're doing the desk for Bellator, you look really good. You look really comfortable. You give really good insight. Are you going to be working the desk this weekend at 194?
Yeah, I'm not going to be working the desk this weekend. I've got some kids that are competing down in L.A. at the Kids Pan Ams, so I made a commitment to the kids to be there for them and to support them. I have kids that train with me at KNOXX Gym, so I'm making sure that I'm going to head down there for their chance. Like I said, I'm starting my other podcast, which is talking about other people that have goals and dreams, and they started small businesses, and I'm want to try and help bring light to them, and that'll be like kind of what that podcast is about. But in this scenario, this is what this is about. I've already made a commitment to the kids that train with me. This is one of their goals, is to become a Pan Am champion. So being there for them and making sure that they can achieve their goals, that's kind of where I'm at right now with them.
You know, the mentor role is something I kind of wanted to ask you about because I remember watching pieces on you, you know, like 6-7 years ago, and you were going and you were speaking to like troubled youth, and that's something that you've always had a passion for, is kind of being a mentor. So now that you have more time to devote to that, do you find that more fulfilling?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of things. I spent some time in juvenile hall when I was a kid. I got in some trouble when I was a kid. You'll find that story amongst a lot of fighters. You know, the other thing though is that I grew up relatively poor. I mean, I was pretty poor as a kid, you know, and those type of things. So I grew up in an area that the schools weren't good, the neighborhoods weren't great, and you're going to hear that from a lot of guys. But then not a lot of guys also step up and like kind of try to get themselves involved in their community, owning a gym, having a huge kids program, building and developing young children's minds, like letting them know, like, you know, that self-esteem and confidence can come from martial arts, can come from jiu-jitsu, can come from kickboxing, can come from just being in shape. You know, I think we underestimate the ability of fitness, you know, and I have a huge HIIT fitness program at my gym as well, and those type of things, they help children build confidence. If they're in shape, if they can do things that other kids can't do, whether it's run a fast mile, whether it's play football, whether it's catch a ball, whether it's throw a ball, whether it's hit a ball, something along those lines. These kids have opportunities to grow in learning fitness, in learning jiu-jitsu, learning how to protect themselves, learning how not to be bullied, learning that their confidence level goes up, knowing that the more knowledge they have in whatever it is that they're doing. And so for me, I felt like this is a way to speak out when I was speaking at the juvenile hall, speaking to those kids, because when they get out, they're going to have choices they have to make. They're going to have to make choices of whether they want to continue being friends with the people that probably helped lead them in the direction that they're in now, or if they're going to try to develop new friends and get into new activities that will help them get away from those type of friends. So those are the things. Like life, I've always said this, and I'll continue to say this probably forever. It's that life is a choice, man. Whether it's a choice to be successful, whether you want to be, it's a choice to be a failure. It's a choice to just let your life go away. You know, like you need to figure out what you want to do with your life, and it's a choice, and it's up to you to make it right. So you can be successful if you want to be successful. The common mistake is that people sometimes affiliate success with money. That's not always the case. You know, I know a lot of people that they live paycheck to paycheck, but guess what? They enjoy going to the beach every weekend. They enjoy surfing every weekend. And they enjoy, you know, going out and kicking the soccer ball, you know, just on the field by themselves. A lot of them enjoy like mountain biking, you know, trail riding, you know, doing those type of things that don't cost really a whole lot. The cost of the bike and, you know, a potential flat tire every once in a while, just time and energy into what you want to do. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I know a lot of people that live paycheck to paycheck, but they feel rich. They feel like they're enjoying their life and they're successful in whatever it is they're doing.
Man, you just about said it. You know, I definitely fall into that paycheck to paycheck category, but life's good. Life's good, right? So, well, I appreciate your time, man. You know, you're a monster all over social media. Where can everybody follow you at?
You can follow me at The Real Punk on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. You can also follow me on Facebook at Josh the Punk Thomson.
Awesome. And then your podcast again?
You can follow us on IG also for our podcast. It's Sammy and the Punk. You can follow our YouTube channel, Sammy and the Punk, as well. You can hit that up, or you can also hit my gym up too. If you guys live in the Bay Area or San Jose, you can hit my gym up. It's called KNOXX Martial Arts and Fitness. You can look that up as well.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Can I ask you for one quick favor? We kind of have a tradition here. Could you say, this is Josh Thomson, and you're listening to the Did You See That Shit podcast?
This is Josh Thomson, and you're listening to Did You See That Shit podcast.
I appreciate it, brother.
All right, my man. Take it easy, bro.